I'm not sure if you remember that. There was like a illiquid stock called LPA, first Costa Rican IPO, like coffee company. It went from $12 to $600. And back then, I had two accounts. I had IB account and Cobra account. But I made the mistake of positioning myself on both accounts. And that was the moment I still remember, like I have emotional feelings about that day because
oh jeez,
the worst thing that any trader could do, you close your laptop and you pray for the best.
Welcome back everybody to Be the Trader. Today is a fantastic day because I have my man Lucas here who's been trading for around 17 years and he has a wonderful story because I know all of you, a lot of you are going to be able to relate to this and you don't want to miss out on this episode. Share with other friends because he's been trading for that long, and in the last 3 months he's had a tremendous growth of making a little over $90,000 when in the last 4 years it took him 4 years to make a little over 100K. So this is going to be a very insightful episode for you guys to really learn, what helped him make the flip and never to give up. So Lucas, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, Alex. It's a pleasure, man. We were discussing this before. Like when I started in US, I was like 2020 watching how I could learn online and you were there. So now I'm here. It's amazing. It's a pleasure. It's an honor. So yeah, thank you for having me here.
Hey man, I appreciate you watching the show. I appreciate you being here and sharing your story with everyone else. So get us started on how did you get started in this game?
Man, this started a long time ago. It was 2007. It's a long time. I was like in first year college, and I'm from Brazil, by the way. So you're like my first 12 years of trading history, it was trading on Brazilian market. It was working on Brazilian market. So pretty much I started with a couple of friends. We kind of created an investment club, which is pretty much like gathering money from friends and family and pretty much losing it because we got like the right before 2008 crisis. So it went everything down. And like it was the first blown up without even trading my own money, which is even worse.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of like knowledge that I learned. And after that, I kind of got my first job. I kind of went to the corporate side, which I became a professional working at Credit Suisse. So Credit Suisse, it was a huge bank. It was acquired by UBS nowadays, but it was the main equities broker in Brazil for Brazilian market. So it was like the first one in terms of volume. And I was very lucky to be there because I was working on the brokerage house and I became a trader. But for you guys to know, like on the retail space, being a trader at Credit Suisse, I don't trade to make money. I was trading to execute orders as institutional. So pretty much I got calls and orders for Wellington, like the biggest Vanguard, all the biggest brokers around the world, like the main investment banks around the world, but most of them, they have exposure to Brazil some way, somehow, even it's like emerging markets, what else, but pretty much that was like my main, like I had like it was like the dream job. I had like 6 screens, the phone, those phones, they are worth like $10,000. You can press a button and you speak to New York, and you can grab 6 people on the line at the same time. So you speak with one investment asset and another one, and like it's a huge like Bloomberg, that kind of stuff.
This was back in 2009, 2008.
What?
This was like in 2009. I'm assuming
this was 2009 until 2012. Okay. That was like an amazing opportunity to learn what's behind trading.
Yeah, that's really cool. Chart. Like the bulk orders coming through. By now, you know our show is sponsored by Cobra Trading. I use them every day and for good reason. I love the fast execution and the great customer service. And it's not just me saying this. Both Benzinga and Forbes Advisor awarded Cobra Trading best-in-class ratings in multiple categories for day traders. You can sign up now with the Be the Trader link below, and Cobra will give you 100 days of free commission, 3 months of free software, and 33% off commission for life. I know you'll be as happy as I am when you trade with Cobra. Now let's get back to the show.
Bulk orders. So for example, my job was like, I have, 50,000 shares to buy in a stock that trades like 500,000 a day. So it's like 10% of the volume. How do I trade? How do I buy this? So there are a lot of types of order, like TWAP, VWAP, participative orders, which is, for example, you buy 20% of the volume. So if 1,000 shares executes in the market, you buy 200, So that kind of knowledge, you understand one thing, and it's valid for everybody who's listening to this. Whatever moves any ticker, it's volume. It's not the technical analysis. It's pretty much flow. Flow moves price, right? So for example, if the market was running in Brazil, okay, like 5, 10, like it never moves 5, 10%. But if it moves like 2, 3% a day, the index, if there is one symbol that like a guy wants to sell, why? Because he's basically reducing exposure for that specific symbol. But he has a huge amount of stocks, and he's basically sitting there at the price that he wants to sell, and pretty much the price is the same price for the last day. This stock will never go up. Why? Because there's a huge wall of sellers there, and that's pretty much what you learn, And now also what I learned a lot was about algo trading, because I was also a market maker. So pretty much what I had to do is get exposure and kind of manage my book, which means like pretty much my exposure in each stock that I was market making. And that's pretty much like a lot of learning in terms of algo trading and how you expose yourself.
What was that like because I know people probably hearing this, like he was a market maker. What is that actually like?
It pretty much you use algorithms that you have exposure on the buy and sell, like the bid and ask. And you be there and you go there and sometimes the stock moves up and you have, okay, now I'm short because I'm adding liquidity. I'm always adding liquidity to the market, right? So You go there and the stock runs up and you get exposure on the short side. So sometimes you have to hedge this on the options. Sometimes you basically understand that you have to buy like you do kind of pair trading. So if you get one single stock that you market make, that is a competitor, like a sympathy play on the other side. If you're short here, you buy this one because you kind of hedge. So it's always trying to reduce exposure. The main job of a market maker is to give the main job of the market maker is give liquidity, right? So provide liquidity, but you have to manage the risk while you're doing this. So that's the main job. So sometimes
why is that the main job, to provide liquidity? Because
especially in Brazil, when you IPO, you have like some types of goals from the IR, investor relations from the company, that I want to be in the XYZ index. So to be on the XYZ index, I don't know, like Russell 2000, for example. To be there, you have to have X amount of trading executing on a day. So basically the company sometimes hire a market maker to provide liquidity to make the stock go to a specific index. And why does it happen? Because when you get to the index, you get flow from passive funds. So for example, you make what it is, understand what it is? So pretty much like
go ahead and explain it though. Just explain it. Go ahead.
So pretty much like I have an example. The day that I traded the biggest amount of money in my life, I almost went to the hospital after that. By the way, I was 20 years old. Okay. And like there was what is MSCI? MSCI, it's Morgan Stanley something index. It's like the main index that passive funds they follow. So pretty much like there are the global MSCI, there is like emerging markets MSCI, there is Brazil MSCI. So for example, if you don't understand anything about Brazil and you want to get exposure to Brazil, which stocks do you buy? You don't know. So that's why this kind of index exists. So I want to get exposure to Brazil. Okay, I'm going to follow the portfolio of MSCI Brazil. What happens if a stock comes in or comes out? There's a lot of flow coming in. There is a lot of flow coming out. So, for example, there was I never forget this day. I traded like $100 million a day, just myself. It wasn't. It was not my money, but my job was how do I execute this without making the stock fly away? Because for example, I don't. You're never gonna know the company, but it was pretty much like a real estate company that was being added to the index. Mm-hmm. And I had to buy 3 times average daily volume in one day. Jesus. How do you do this? It's impossible.
Without making it rocket.
I made like the stock run like 10% just because I had to execute that amount of shares in that single day, So that kind of knowledge I will never get anywhere else.
Never.
That was pretty amazing. But when I did a post like this week, he said like, "Oh, it's disencouraging that it took you so long." But
I disagree with that person.
And I started training not for myself as a full-time trader. So it only started my journey full-time like 4 years ago. So pretty much I've been trading like entrepreneurship. I had my own company. So that's the thing. Like after Credit Suisse, I went more like a path of financial biz corporate companies. Like I worked in financial planning, and after I started my own company, after I came back from Berkeley, I studied at Berkeley in US, and I started my own e-commerce. Like it was like a startup thing. So it was a 5 years journey of entrepreneurship, getting like fundraising and having like 15 employees and like completely outside of trading, even though I was always like selling calls to my position. So I was always in touch, but I was not full-time trading.
Okay.
And that came back in 2020 with COVID hit. Like everybody who have ever like for at least once in their life traded one single stock saw the markets crashing like 50% in a couple of days and like, I gotta be back. So I was working in a different job outside of trading, and I kind of came back trading, and I even switched my job role back then. So I was like working in an e-commerce thing. I tried I kind of sold my company, like zero profit, but I sold because we were almost bankrupt. So basically, I was working in this company, and I kind of switched. I switched it to retail algo trading company in Brazil. So pretty much what it does, it's like I want to create a robot, like a bot, that if the 9 moving average crosses the 21, I buy. Simple as that. Like, of course, you can create a lot of different strategies, but it was pretty much how do I trade algo trading, So that was like when I came back to the markets. And back then, that's like a specific thing that happened to me. Like in Brazil, if you go bankrupt or you have like problems with your companies, it can come to your personal income. Like the debts that you have, it go to your personal income. So what I did, I kind of created like an IB account, Interactive Brokers account, and I transferred my money to US. Say they're not gonna touch this money.
That's funny.
And what I had to do is like, what do I do with this money? Like, where do I trade? So I was very lucky. I'm almost sure that you were trading already back then. There was a marijuana rush, right? 2019, the green rush. Yep. They say I was very lucky that I was pretty much like what I did was I was working and I had to create a portfolio. So I kind of selected like 5-6 stocks that went crazy. Like I made 100% in my portfolio in 1 year without doing anything. It was insane. And I sold on the right timing. Amazing. And that was 2020, pretty much. Like 19 to 20, it was like the green rush. And then I sold and I said, what do I do now? Because I don't want to trade. I don't want to put my money in Tesla. Apple. Back then, I thought that was already expensive. Nowadays, it's like, So what happened was I kind of for like when I was trading in IB, I saw like some stocks running like 5, 10, 20. Like what is it? Because we don't have this type of volatility in Brazil.
Okay.
And I was very lucky to be selecting as I went like to TradingView. I went there and went to the scanner. I want to see what's going down like 90%. If I get one trade that explodes, yeah, nice. Like, and I gotta be honest, like the first day that I did this, I was very, very lucky that I bought a company called PETZ.
Okay.
It was
PETZ? Yeah, that one.
It was February 2000. I don't know exactly, but like that day, I bought like 5 minutes. I longed it 5 minutes before the market closed, and I didn't even know there was after hours back then. I like how newbie I was in US trading, you know?
Yeah, of course.
And the stock went up like 200% in 10 minutes later. What is going on? Like I made like I longed it like $1,000, and I made like $2,000 in 15 minutes without even knowing why. But that happened.
Yeah.
So when I saw that type of volatility and I sold it, you know, I made easy $2,000, 200% out of nothing and without any, I would say, effort, you know?
Yep.
And that kind of struck me that there was edge there. There was something that I never saw before anywhere else. And I was like, okay, I got a deep dive on this. So that's where I kind of was looking everywhere for small caps, penny stocks, information online, and imagine where I ended. Timothy Sykes.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
He's the godfather, and he was my mentor. So pretty much, like, just for you guys to understand, I spent 12 years in my whole life trading, of course, in and out. I was not full-time during these 12 years at all. No. But I've tried stocks, I tried options, I tried futures, I tried pair trading, which is pretty much, we call it long and short, but everything for Brazilian markets. Okay, so 12 years in Brazilian markets, and now I'm in US. I have my money in US. I've been trading Green Rush for lucky enough to get 100% in a year. So what I do now, I say I said, because like Timothy Sykes Millionaire Challenge is not cheap. Nope. So especially for me as a Brazilian, right? So pretty much what I did, that's my last shot. I'm going to try if I get something here, because it showed me that was crazy enough in terms of volatility. Let's try.
Yep.
So this was 2020, end of 2020. The market was on incredible hype. And I got like the last 6 months of the OTC hype. Everything as OTC was going crazy. And I managed to move my account from $6,000, that pretty much that was what I had, to 16, 17,000.
Nice.
And that was where I was trading long back then. Following what Tim Sykes, not following, I mean like the calls, the alerts, but following the strategies, you know?
Yep.
And but basically what I did, I was like understanding there was a huge hype, there was like a crack, and I was trying to buy where the short sellers were probably covering.
Okay.
It was already backside. Back then, I didn't know even the concept of backside, front side. I was completely a newbie. And there was a moment that I took like a huge loss. And I don't know, it was almost 40% of my account. I didn't have.
Okay.
I was a newbie in terms of US trading and volatility, and even though I was trading for 12 years, I was replicating the same mistakes that like prevented me to be a profitable trader in the other markets.
In Brazilian markets.
Yeah. Okay. In Brazil and everywhere, and all the period that I was trading before. First, because I never traded for real. I was more like investing and trading sometimes like during the day, but never. I didn't add like a lot of focus on this. And now, like when I was in this moment after I was in the Tim Sykes Challenge, I was like, now I'm gonna focus and I'm gonna do this for real. Okay, so, but I still had like the same, I would say, wrong habits. wrong habits, right? Adding to losers, not having any stop loss, and even like, I don't know, just trying a lot of stuff that didn't work because I thought that I knew everything, right?
Yep.
Just because
Yep.
I worked at Credit Suisse, just because I had 12 years trading already. So, but there was a moment that something clicked. Of course, when you are in the community, you understand that, like, who makes money in the community, and most of them make money on the short side. Most of them, not all of them, but you can see that the biggest edge on at the small caps niche, it's on the short side. Why? Because not 90% of them fail, right? So there was a shift to me, but trading on the short side, it's nice because your winning rate goes up a lot, but if you don't have risk management, it pretty much can kill you in one single trade. So the first, like, I was increasing a lot my winning percentage rate, and there was one trade that kind of didn't blow me up, but I took like a big loss, which was DWAC. You probably
Yep.
remember.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Is that the one you said 40%? You took a 40% loss? Or was that
it
the
was
one?
a huge, at least 40%. And the thing is, I was trading in IB back then, so IB is nice, but they have a lot of restriction in terms of locates, right? They have
huge restrictions. Yeah,
because they are self clearing, so pretty much they have only their own inventory there, right? So that was the moment that I was already trading with a lot of people. David, for example, Capablanca, he's like one of my main trading buddies since the beginning, and. Like he was like, bro, it's already time for you to move to the first league. Like you gotta switch broker. So that's where I switched to Cobra, pretty much. Like that was my main direct access broker, right? My first one, and still trade there now, right? But pretty much that opens the door for like a huge. I would say it comes with an edge, but it's pretty much like locate offering, right? So you have way better possibility to short like low floats. So then the whole journey began because I was able to make a lot of winning trades, but I still had one problem. And my problem was I thought that I knew enough to not having a stop loss. I know exactly where I know where to enter and I know how to trade because the winning percentage rate is insane. Right. But what happens if you get like a black swan and you can even get out? So basically I had some black swans over the way and I would, like not for now on, it kind of starts my journey for real. So what happens was, first of all, I kind of understood why back then when I made like from 6,000 to 500,000, I was still working part-time. I was only trading pre-market and after hours.
And did you say 6,000 to 500,000?
Yeah, like, no, sorry. 6 was before Green Rush. So I was like 16,000 to 50,000. So that was like 1 year that I was only trading pre-market and after hours. Why? Because I had a job, right? And because in Brazil, the time zone, it's 1 hour ahead Eastern time, which is good because you can pre-market trade, you can after hours trade, and you have a 9 to 5 job, which is amazing. I'm gonna get there, but it's almost it's pretty much what I am right now again. But what happened? Back then I said I'm making more money in 2 hours than I'm in my job.
Yep.
Why I'm here? I had like a kind of dream that maybe somebody who's listening here have the same dream. I want to trade and travel. That's like the whole dream, it's pretty much the whole freedom of trading coming alive, right? And I kind of like I had some personal issues, like girlfriend and that kind of stuff. And I kind of said like, bro, I'm single now. I kind of quit my job. Why not travel? So I basically like I was 32, 33 back then. And I understood back then that I had an issue. My issue was the way I was training back then, I understood that I couldn't size up. Why? Because the way I was training, I was pretty much making 1 to 10x in terms of risk reward. Like I make $100, but I don't know, I can trade, I can lose 1,000 or even more.
Yep.
I gotta be honest. Like sometimes I make 100 to lose 5,000. Terrible risk reward. But how I manage this risk, it's not increasing size, because if I maintain my size, I can hold that black swan squeezes and it's coming back. I'm not saying that it's right, guys. I'm just saying that's the learning curve that you got to understand, and everyone has their own path. So
that's
back then, I was more worried about my ego, about being right, and then making sustainable amount of money. So, but what's the problem with this? All the trades that I entered, I was already expecting a squeeze that could blow up, or not blow up, but like put me in a bad position. And I was trading, like I am a mix of fundamentals and technical, okay? Because I have a lot of finance background, so I definitely and I learned a lot on Team Sykes and even other courses that I made about the fundamentals, like about the compliance, NASDAQ compliance letters, about all the SEC filings, the dilution. Like, so pretty much I am like a fundamentals biased trader, but I was using too much fundamentals that put me in positions that I know I'm right. I might be too early, but I'm right. Is it going down? It's going down. So I used to hold my positions. I used to, like, if I'm losing, I'm holding the position because I know it's going to come down. It worked for a long time until it didn't work anymore. Until I got me like in really bad trades, you know. But back then I was using this mentality, and I was like, okay, it's working. I don't know for how long it's going to work until my next big black swan. Look how terrible it's the mentality, because in terms of psychology, I was always pessimist. I was always trading with the mindset that I got to enjoy my travel because I might get to a black swan that is going to blow me up. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And also, like, okay, so back then I started my journey as a traveler and trading.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Why it was amazing? Because I was in Asia. So I could travel and like tourist the whole day, and like 9 p.m. the marketing was opening. So it was amazing. So every single day I traded, every single day I touristed. So I've been to 27 countries. I went like to 17 countries in Asia. Nice. And then I spent like a year in Portugal. So I kind of switched it from a nomad trader to more like, okay, I have a base in Portugal. Portugal is an amazing country, and it's cheaper in Europe. It's the cheapest country in Europe. And I was like, every 2 weeks, I don't know, let me go to Germany, let me go to whatever. So I could, like, instead of like going to one place to another, it's like go, come back, go, come back, go.
Okay.
Back.
Yep.
So it was even better for trading in terms of time, that you can be focused. But funny enough, when I started being at my office trading full time for the first time, because basically I had like a year that I was trading full time at my home, not like 6 months. I managed to do everything right. But when I started in Portugal to be at home and while traveling, I kind of lost my way. You know what happened? That is exactly that moment I had my biggest drawdown. So
what year is this?
It was last year, pretty much.
Okay.
So 2023, I was nomads, traveling, paying my whole trip while trading.
Nice, man.
But when I got to Portugal and I became like a full-time, I understood I was kind of over trading way more. And I understood that like holding positions, it wouldn't have never work. And until I got like a huge loss, like a couple of huge loss for example, FFEI, IE,
yep.
One of the big ones. I had another
KBIO.
KB, no, that one didn't get. But I gotta be honest, there was one And like that moment was like the worst moment in my trading. And I'm here because I want to be the guy that it's 100% honest. And I want to explain that you have to learn from, maybe you guys who are hearing, probably you're in the same, I don't know, like 5 to 6 figures, and you're making the same mistakes still that I've made. So there was one trade, illiquid stock called LPA. Okay. I'm not sure if you remember that. That was like an IPO, pretty much like a first Costa Rican IPO, like a coffee company. I don't know. It went from $12 to $600.
Oh, jeez.
and back then, I had 2 accounts. I had IB account and Cobra account. But I made a mistake of positioning myself on both accounts. And that was the moment. I still remember, like, I have emotional feelings about that day because
I feel it in my chest.
That moment, I did the worst thing that any trader could do. You close your laptop and you pray for the best. Like, I'm being honest here, guys, because you guys have to understand that I had to have all of these terrible experiences as a trader to be where I am right now.
I love that.
Right? And that was one of the main moments that I understood, okay, I'm blowing up. My career is over. I'm leaving this. Back then, and I'm not like a religious guy, but back then that's the only thing that you pretty much can hold on, like it's you. Let me know what you want from me, And that was the worst. Like I kind of still like I'm shamed. I'm shamed as a trader, but it's my journey, and the only thing that I could never do is like having the same mistake again, right? So that was like a switch in my mind.
What happened? So what ended up happening?
I lost like 5% of what I was supposed to lose. It came back. It came back.
So lucky, bro.
No. Yeah. There is somebody out there, guys. Probably. At least that moment it was for me. So I kind of saved myself. But that's the thing. Like, it was my second chance. So after that, I kind of reshaped it all my life. So I kind of,
in your head, you already lost everything. In your head, you're like, exactly. I lost everything. And so you kind of even though it didn't happen, you lived it in that moment. Okay.
So I definitely got my second chance. So my second chance was, okay, I got to reshape my whole life. So I got to understand why I'm doing these mistakes. And one of the reasons I was doing these mistakes, and that worked for me, I'm not saying that it's working for everybody. It's like being a full-time trader as the only source of revenue. That's a dream that comes with a lot of pain and stress. Because when you're in a losing position and you think that the amount of money that you're going to lose because you have to stop, it's not only one or, I don't know, like 5 or even 10 days worth of trading, which is okay, depending on its strategy. It's your rent, it's the food that you're going to buy. So I was living in scarcity. I was living with the mentality that each money that I spent, it's X amount of days of trading.
Yep.
For me, it doesn't work. Like, especially like I'm 36 right now, but back then I was like, I gotta start a family. Like I'm in a position that I want to have a stable income, and that was where it all clicked. And I said, I think what I'm doing in Portugal. Like I live in Brazil, my family is there. Like even my career, it's in Brazil. And I had the ability to trade. And that was like, for example, where Kinfo came. I was using Kinfo already for a long time, but Kinfo, it's really nice because you can manage and see exactly where your edge is. So if you see my charts, in my P&L charts, distributed by time, types of trade and whatever, I understood that where I made money the most was pre-market and after hours. Ever. Why? I can give you a lot of reasons, right? First, it's they don't have halts, which is good. Of course, pre-market sometimes has a crazy mover that goes like 1,000%, and that's you're gonna understand where I am right now because I'm not trading even pre-market anymore. But that was a huge edge, pre-market and after hours for me. And usually the biggest squeezers and the black swans, they don't start at pre-market. Because when I say pre-market, okay, guys, it's not like it's early pre-market. So my best edge is first hour pre-market, like 4 to
like
5
4 a.m., 5. Okay,
it's not like 7 where all the news comes along. It's like 4 to 5 because I get the last after hours trading, which sometimes there's a lot of movers that doesn't make any sense, and the after hours, which is now my bread and butter. Okay, so I kind of understood that. Okay, if I trade pre-market and after hours, I can come back to a full-time job. I can have a steady income.
Yep. And
what I did was I've been trading for a long time with the mainstream platforms that I'm not gonna say names, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And I've been trading for 12 years before US trading in a platform in Brazil from a company that has more than 20 years. It's like the main leader in Brazil. That like the platform is amazing in terms of look and feel and the functionalities, and like they are like a unicorn in Brazil that they were expanding globally. And I came there and I said there is opportunity to work as a trader and bring all the knowledge that I have as a trader to develop the platform to be in US for US traders, right? So basically, I kind of joined my two passions because I had a passion of technology. I had a startup before. I love entrepreneurship as well. I could get my steady income, and amazingly, I could join both passions because I still trade after hours now. I can be developing the platform, which is already live, and we can talk a little bit. I don't want to go in detail, but we can talk a little bit about this. But now I'm full-time working, part-time trading. And the reason I have now since I have a steady income, I can force my development on trading. And that's exactly what happens. And another thing that I cannot like not bringing this is this.
Oh yeah.
This I gotta thank to Eduardo Briceño.
Oh, Eduardo, yeah.
This setup is his setup. This changes the game for me. So pretty much there was a mixture. So like the post that I did this week that I said something clicked.
Yep.
And this is pretty much, so guys, just summarizing everything for you guys to understand. 12 years with no edge. 3 years and a half with edge, but no risk management, and no, I would say, focus on evolution. I was more like, okay, I have freedom to trade. I have an edge. I might blow up any day in the future. So that's why I'm going to travel the world and enjoy it. I loved it. It was amazing. I traveled 27 countries. I lived the dream. But not all the dreams they are for forever, you know. So you gotta plan your life. So I understood that for myself, for my personality, I have to have a second. Like I have put trading in the second layer of income and had a first one. Because now I can improve on trading, and if I increase my losses, I know that I can pay my bills no matter what. Right. So now I'm joining two passions, technology and trading, and the whole game changing for me. So pretty much what happens now is that I only trade after hours, and I can talk a little bit about this.
Sure.
And of course, because it's two things. First, trading after hours, and first, in the middle of this, something clicked about sizing. So I started trading after hours. The reason I trade after hours or even pre-market, but I will focus on after hours because everything that you guys are seeing this year, it's only after hours. It's pretty much, that's where the news come up. So for the last 5 years, I've been trading after hours every single day. So I know which type of news move and sustain the movement. I know which ones are like list of compliance. This is like the stock goes up. I don't know if it's like any algo that sees a news and buy no matter what, and it goes down. That's an example. A lot of stocks, they move without news after hours. And also, probably this, it's more related to everybody who trades regular hours. All the black swans, not all, but most of them, there is, and that's another part, man. While working with the trading platform, you kind of speak with a lot of clearing firms. You kind of learn a lot of things in the background that, like, it's amazing. So I gotta give you some examples that I learned while in this background that probably nobody knows about this. First, all the buy-ins. It's called buy-in for when the company repurchase. Like it's pretty much when the own company has to buy their
repurchase
shares, like repurchase programs. They are only allowed to be done on less hour of regular hours. Why power hour exists? That's another reason.
That makes sense.
Because that's the only allowed time for a company to buy back shares.
Huh.
I didn't know, but and I heard this from Nasdaq. Okay, so I have a relationship with Nasdaq.
They can only buy it at what time? At power hour?
That's the only time 3 to 4 p.m.
It's the last hour of the day?
The allowed time for buyback
Interesting.
Programs for companies.
Okay, I didn't know that.
That's one of the topics. And the second one is, I'm not going to say the name of the clearing firm, but there are clearing firms that controls the amount of exposition that one client has in the whole market cap of the company and float. So at 3 to 4 is the moment that they see, okay, this guy is overexposed. No matter how much money or losing, the money he's making or losing, I have to reduce his exposure. Because it's the clearing firm rule. So there is a lot of movements that happens in this period and also continues after hours because there is they have to reduce the exposure of a specific client, which is highly shorted. So that creates a lot of the movement, like these two reasons, for example, that's why it happens.
One, the power hour makes it go higher because of repurchase program. And the second one is if any certain clients with specific brokers have exposure greater than, I think you said 2% or 1%?
Yeah, I don't know exactly the percentage.
But it might be a percentage that they need to, reduce that exposure, which means cover, which means buying back, and the after hours.
Usually they start before after hours, but it always continues after hours. And gotcha. That's exactly where...
That's why it keeps... Okay.
It keeps moving. And second, of course, there are a lot of buy-ins as well, margin calls. So if the stock is continuing to move up, this guy who has huge exposure is going to make the price go up, which is going to make all the short sellers choose. It's like a snowball effect.
Yep. And those are the ones you play. Those are the ones you're shorting, right?
Exactly. Because the thing is, like for me, the edge is where the movement it's not fundamentally biased, and you know that it's happening with aggressive orders. What is aggressive orders? They are not placing the order on the bid. They are basically hitting the ask. They are removing liquidity. So when you understand this and you can manage to see the tape plus of course you see the chart, what's happening, the volume that it's aggressively hitting the ask, you kind of understand that movement is fake. It's not fake. It
can't sustain.
It shouldn't happen. Yep. It only happens because small caps are inefficient. And that's what a trader needs. They need volume, they need volatility, and they need inefficiency. If they have these three, you have an edge. Of course, you got to find exactly the moment to buy and sell. But these three things is what any day trader needs, right? For example, I don't trade futures. Why? First, because I've been trading futures in Brazil for the last 10 years and I never could make money. And second, because all the futures trading, they have hundreds of thousands of like professional algorithms to make sure that that price, specific price of the, I don't know, Nasdaq future, it's exactly where it should be.
Mm.
You know that the concept of, if you understand, if you still if you agree with, what's the name of the guy? It's like the first price technical guy analysis, Dow Jones. I think it's the theory that there is a theory, like very old technical analysis theory,
Okay.
that the prices should represent the reality.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's pretty much like, if the price is there, it should represent, because the market is efficient. Right?
Okay. Yep.
You can. I agree this for futures, because there are a lot of players that are hedging. A lot of like, you may, the price should be there, but like when you see a 1,000% mover that is going up because somebody is basically taking the guy out of the trade.
Yep. You know what's funny is the longer you trade too, what you're sharing, Lucas, and I'm sure like you've experienced this already, like you said, on some of the stocks that squeezed you back in, I don't know, years ago, where it squeezed 600%, or it went from $20 or $12 to $600. Like those experiences also teach you that, oh wow, like if I cover, I'm going to make this move another $20. And then you start to realize like, oh, no wonder there's edge here in shorting this play, because no one's buying. It's me buying. It's me covering myself. So, you know, that's it's like all this journey that you've experienced. From what I love is everyone who's watching this and listening to this, I need you guys to understand, like there's so much to learn here. Number one, you know, everyone's journey is their own unique journey, right? Number two, you found edge and you exploited that edge, even though you didn't have certain rules around like stops and so forth. You know, that's very dangerous, and everyone needs to know, like, you expect it to one day, I'm going to blow up possibly because of this, and you almost did. And that right there shows a lot of lessons. You always got to have some type of rules in place, stops, or some type of plan, right? But then also on top of that, it taught you so many lessons too on how to exploit that edge even better and make it, you know, more precise as you grew in your career, which now you're focused on after hours. You've been that trader who got squeezed, who was holding hope. And you've also seen behind the curtain of seeing why people, whether brokers have to cover margin calls or buybacks or even repurchasing programs. You've been in different sides of the table. So now you're starting to add all that together to create to create more confidence behind your edge. And that's just helping you grow dramatically, man. So I think it's why. And we'll share the link down below if you can, of the post that you posted, where it took you. I'll read right here. It says, in 4 years, I made 130,000. In the last 3 months, I made 92,000. And that's because you started to put everything together and start to really define your edge. And I'm guessing a lot of that has to do with your risk management. Could you dive a little bit more into that risk management portion?
Yeah. So basically what happened? So I started working in Black Arrow in February. So February, March, June, July, I was focused on that specific timing. I would say my winning rate was still 90%, but I made, I don't know, $30,000 in that specific timing. So I was still making a low percent, like my money wise gains daily they were still low, because I was still having the same mentality. But I understood that like back in this specific timing, I don't see like 600% movers. So I'm better exposed. Like I have less risk about this, but I was still not able to size up. And sizing up was still the same struggle since the first day one, right? So even though while I was trading, I wasn't exposing myself to more risk. But I know, and you, like everybody who knows me knows that was my main struggle. And I probably, you guys who are hearing this, you're in the same problem. Like I'm doing well, but I want to go with the bigger guys. How do I go?
Like I'm making $100 every day, but I want to make 1,000, 2,000, 5,000.
Like I want to get to $1 million. You know, so if I trade and make $500 a day, which is nice.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not gonna go there. You know, I'm not gonna get there at all. But if I increase my size, I was probably going to increase the amount of money that I could lose without a risk management.
Hmm.
That's why I would never do this, because I cannot handle emotional pains of seeing my account like moving like this.
Yep.
But like it's already hard with X amount of exposure. Imagine 5x.
Yep.
So what happened? So that's exactly the moment that everything clicked. First, this why?
Why?
And I have a really good reason for this. Two main reasons. First, three main reasons. So I can give you a lot. First, I can use adding liquidity for ECN fees. So you can. I only trade adding liquidity, so I make money without making money. So sometimes I'm flat on the day, but I made money because I'm pretty much adding liquidity all the time. That's not the main reason, but it's still one. Second, it's always configured for all the closing positions. They are configured or percentage wise. They are not shared, which means that sometimes I'm in a position that I feel uncomfortable about the size, and I just go there like, okay, 10% out. I don't care. It's just the feeling that you have that you are reducing, and you are on the right side of the trade because the stock is going in your favor, but you're pretty much reducing 10% by 10%, but it's always 10% of the left, so it's less.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you're trading with your keyboard and the first one, it's like, this is quick. Like, I'm here and I'm trading. If I'm speaking with you and I'm trading, I just click a button, I'm at 10% out. I don't even have to look at the screen right now.
Yep.
It's really fast. But it's pretty much like it gives you a mental.
You're not having to think about that stuff.
And it kind of gives you a peace. It gives it some type of peace that you're reducing exposure, but you're still big.
Yep.
Because sometimes if you're trading manually,
it's scratching the itch. It's scratching the itch.
Exactly. Because when you go there, you have the urgent feeling that you gotta reduce yourself the exposure, but it's more psychological than rational. Yep. So that helps me a lot. And the last piece, I'm one click away, which is my ask 100% cover. I'm one click away to get out of the trade. I don't have to go there, put the quantity. It's like I don't want to say that becomes a video game, because that creates the wrong mentality that trading it's a game, but it makes you make faster decisions. So,
and that will execute after hours for you? You have it set for after hours? Okay, cool.
Every session. So
that is what helped you, or was there like a risk? Is that your risk management? Is that what you're saying?
No, what happens is this kind of created the first layer of confidence that I could execute the risk management better.
Okay.
But that's not the risk management. It's just a tool that helping me to do the following rule, which is now, I don't want to go so deep on this because it's kind of where my edge kind of
sure, I understand that.
But I kind of, after 4 years, I kind of understood some way, somehow, that I have to enter, not when the green candles I'm a short seller, 90%. I don't want to go into the trade when the candles are green, because that's exactly where the short sellers are.
Those are the guys that you experienced who were just getting squeezed. And they're still buying. Yep.
I was this guy,
Yep. So you're like, they're still getting squeezed. Why would I short it? They're still getting squeezed.
And that's the thing of the beauty of this community is there are a lot of good traders, professional, profitable traders that give information for free. So I'm gonna say some names. Hopefully one day they can speak with me. So Alex Semis is one of the guys.
Yep.
Lance is another one. So for example, Lance has the right side of the V idea. That when I understood that, like, it's pretty much the same trade, but an expected value completely different.
Yeah.
Why? Because I know exactly what I have to start. Like, I'm in the same trade, but now I understood where and of course, sometimes I still trade on the green candles where I see a huge daily resistance. I sometimes position myself.
You still use a chart in volume.
Okay, Lex, because this is already a B setup for me. It's not the A setup. But I go there, sometimes I expose myself, and this is more uncomfortable because it's exactly what I was doing for the long term. But now my A setup, it's okay. I want to understand exactly when the moment that the momentum is probably shifting. And I don't trade once. I trade in and out. And that like another thing that flip it for me. It's like everybody who's a professional trader says that you have to size up when you're in a winning position, right? Never size up when you're losing. And now I'm doing this without even noticing. Because why? Because I enter in this place, stock goes down and it goes up again. And if I hit harder here, I know exactly that my stop should be where my stop was before. And if I lose, I'm pretty much risking what I made on the first not bounce, but the first crack. So that kind of
recycling,
it made me using this, because with this you're faster to in and out, in and out, in and out, to make better trades. So and the thing is, now that I know exactly where I go out, I stop the trade. I know the piece that was missing was this. Now that I know exactly where I going, where I leave where I stop the trade, I can size how much I won. Why? Because I can make the calculation. It's not always perfect, but I don't know. Like if I enter with X amount, if I'm okay to lose $3,000 in a day. I'm sizing up, I'm scaling, and I'm not scaling losing money. I'm scaling building my positions, because after hours there is a problem for myself. I know that my strategy, it will not work if I have 1 million in my account, because after hours usually they don't have the volume that I need for that type of trade. So I'm gonna have a problem in the future. But for now, I'm grinding finally the way I expected to, and that's exactly what I saw. Like I was like from 11th August until November, I don't know, 9 or 10th without any lose day, like red day. And the thing is, I lost $3,500 to like not this Friday, the last Friday, which it's a really okay loss for the amount of money that was making. And the next day I made it back, So like, it's like usually all my losses, since I was making so much little for each loss, every loss was a drain. It was a pain. Why? Because it was going to take me a month to recover it. Now my losses are controlled, and it's more like, since I'm like this month I made like $2,000 a day. So pretty much like every trade that I lose, I'm okay. Sometimes I even recover on the same day, because that's another thing that I learned. If I stop, it doesn't mean that I've lost. It doesn't mean that I'm on the wrong timing. Maybe if the stock continues to go up, it's going to give me the right signal that I thought that the first one was. So I'm going to probably make the same trade, and I'm going to, I don't know, be net zero, or I'm going to be even profitable on the same day. So like now I have a better, I would say, I accept to lose more. And that's the thing about ego, because back then it was all about having a 90% winning rate. And I don't care anymore about winning rates. It's like I care about not losing too much when I lose. And that makes all the difference. So I would say that, guys, at least for me, it's a combination of two things. First, having a I would say, stable income makes me accept losing money on the trading. And when I think about how I lose, I accept losing more, because now I have exposure. My risk management is more correct, because I can expose myself more and I lose less, because I know exactly where I have to stop. So it's a combination of psychological, I would say, comfort that the trading, it's not related to paying bills.
Yep.
And second, it's okay if I lose more, because I know where my stop is. I'm increasing size, and I'm making I made my first 10K day in ever in October.
Nice,
it's insane. So it's like
And
it's been a dream come true in terms of how the evolution works. And sometimes, guys, it's not a matter of what you study. It's maybe like all the pieces so you have to go through all Alex videos here, because it's not like it's screen time plus knowledge plus challenging yourself.
knowing yourself is important.
Because the thing is, like, if you think about some way, somehow, the decision that I made to travel, it was more like I don't want to challenge myself. I just want to enjoy the freedom of trading. So that's what I did. And I was expecting some way to blow up. Now that I'm comfortable with a job, and I gotta tell you, man, it's a job that it's gonna be probably making me trade even better, because I'm bringing a new trading platform as well, right? So that's the name of the platform. It's called, sorry about the small advertisement here, but it's Black Arrow. And Black Arrow, it's going to be, it's already live, right? In one broker called Zintra, and it's going to be live in other brokers in the future in US, that hopefully you guys could always test it. And I mean, if you leave me a little bit, I'm going to explain about this. But yeah, like all the pieces came together. It's finally happening, and that's why I posted, because I wanted to share that it didn't take me 17 years because I wasn't trading in the US. It took me 4 years.
Yeah, it took you 4 years, and also it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter how long it takes you, because here's the other thing. Like you said, you had one day where you made 10K not too long ago. And, back, let's just say you were trading for, 30 years. And then all of a sudden, at some point, you're going to get to a point in your career. If you never give up and you start to get this game, at some point, you'll make all that back in one day, 1 week, 10 years of losses. And because if you trade right, if you trade size small at the beginning, if you're trading huge, then maybe you're just going to blow up. But if you trade right, you trade small, execute small, don't increase size until you're very confident, then one day it could take you 10, 20, 30, 40. It don't matter, because in one day, eventually, I know traders who will make all that back in one day from all of their losses when they traded for 10 years straight and didn't make any money. And then they make it all in one day, 1 month, 1 week. So don't beat yourself up. And I love this story because you're sharing this. And at the end of the day, there's people out there who've been trained for 8 years, 20 years. And they're like, man, I'm right there. Like, I have edge. I'm making money, but I have blowups. Maybe they're trading shorts. And they're going to watch this and they're going to understand, like, okay, maybe I need to have some type of other income coming in, because I think that's very important. Because what they're also not here, hopefully people are understanding that you're probably making more than your other job already. And the fact is, you've said this very clear. It's because this steady income is guaranteed to pay my bills. I don't need it to pay my bills, but it's guaranteed to pay my bills. So therefore, this can grow so much more. And then this can pay everything else if it wants to, or exponentially grow. And I love that, because the multiple sources of income helps alleviate your pressure, where you can actually focus on making this a professional game and growing more. So good job, man. Good job, Lucas. That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
I'm proud of you, brother.
Thing, man. It's pretty much like I'm almost sure that somebody is gonna tell, like, "Oh, you're a part-time trader. You weren't able to be a full-time trader." Like, maybe.
Those people. I think that, full-time trading. First off, everyone out there needs to know that I get to talk to hundreds of traders. And even the ones who are full-time, they have a lot of things on the side that are bringing in revenue, real estate, this, that, X, Y. I have investments in businesses outside of this game, like all kinds of stuff, because everyone who does trading, eventually, even you watching right now, and you're like, oh, he's part-time. When you find success, you're going to be like, oh, I get it now. I need to have money coming in all types of ways to cover my risk exposure. All the greats want to cover their risk exposure, because this is a game of probabilities and you never know what can happen.
Exactly.
And you always want to make sure you can take care of your family and you want to take care of your life for the future. So I ain't worried about that, man. I'm proud of you. I think it's great. And you know what? Guess what? Part-time can mean, at the end of the day, let's say you make 100K your job and then part-time you're making 300K trading. I don't give a shit, like, who cares? But so who cares about all the haters? There's haters everywhere you go. I don't care about them. What I'm proud of is you, man, and how you're killing it. And if you could share with people, Lucas, real quick, how they can learn more about you, could you tell them how they can learn more about you? And I think the company you mentioned, Black Arrow.
Yeah. So you can on X, you can find me Marin, which is my last name, Trader. I'm gonna be there, and you pretty much I have like in my profile description Black Arrow as the trading platform. But if you want to search about Black Arrow, it's blackarrowtrading.com. But the main website there, it's not releasing the trial for equities. So if you want to, like, especially like for you guys that are listening and want to try it, send me a message on X, send me a message on Instagram. So my Instagram, it's my name, Lucas Marin _. So both of the two options, I can reply to you guys and even send you the right link for this. And like even answer a question, but pretty much like it's the thing is it's a platform built from traders to traders, because I've been there on the journey for a long time, and a lot of features that I know you guys want like for example we were discussing here, right? You want overnight trading because not all the platforms have it. Nice. I'm gonna bring this internally because I want to develop it. Like we're launching AI tools to create automated strategies. We are launching, I don't know, like we have scanners, we have like the hotkeys. So these hotkeys that I was using in other platforms, we already built this for Black Arrow. So you can do exactly the same. So it's pretty much like an ongoing process to develop a better solution for traders, but it's not like stuck in time. It's like always evolving with the market. So for example, global hour, like 100% sure that we're going to have overnight trading as well. So,
I also want to ask you this, Lucas. If you did start over, what would you, if you could go back in time and tell yourself, you had like 5 minutes to tell yourself something, what would you tell yourself to help you get here faster?
I would say that especially for those who doesn't have any other source of income, keep on part-time trader, because it's like huge amount of hours you can trade. There is edge in every specific timing. Look for part-time trader. I've met a lot of really good traders, and like pretty much understand that each one has your own path. And I was comparing myself a lot until I understood that it's a battle against myself. So I understood that for me, part-time trading works. And if you want to have a freedom to be like your own boss and do like full-time, okay. But if you could have another source of income, it makes sense. So for me, it took me way more because I was trying to live the dream of full-time, and it worked until it didn't. And when it didn't, I kind of got to in a position that I don't know what I'm going to do in my life. So I kind of organized myself to be like full-time working plus training where I know I have edge, because that's what happens. Like Kinfo, for example, it's a platform that provides you this information really well. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly how you adjust. Like I think the main thing is focus on long-term, because it's a process. Mm-hmm. It's like Tim Sykes says, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Okay. So you got to be there for the long term. And like the main thing, it's not doing what I did, like not having a stop loss. It's going to kill. I was lucky. Okay. I was lucky. And I know I had a second chance. So now it's pretty much what I would focus if I was like how to evolve faster than me. First, find your edge, find a risk management that could provide you increased size. And I've been listening a lot of podcasts, and you see a lot of the good traders saying like, expose yourself for 5% more each month. Accept to lose like 1,000 and then lose 10% more, $1,100. So every single month for 2 months, you expose yourself a little bit more. I didn't do this. Okay, so I was worried about losing because I was full-time, and now I'm less worried about this because I don't mind. I have how to pay my bills. So that's why I'm evolving, because I made all the combinations necessary to this to happen.
Perfect. Look, Lucas, I know people are going to want to learn more, so I'm going to provide the links down below that you mentioned just a while ago. Make sure to send those to me, and I'll have them down in the description. And again, thanks for being here, brother.
Alex, thank you so much for the opportunity. As I said, it's a pleasure, guys. I'm happy to speak with everybody here. I'm still a work in progress trader, guys, and everybody is, So I'm not a millionaire. I want to be there. That's my goal. Now I'm more focused on this, like on scaling up because I understood the game. So that's the main thing. Once it clicks, all the traders that you see, it's kind of exponential, right? Because they understood how it is, and then it's like building every single day the dream they were working for 5 or more to get.
Yep. So it's just people see on social media, they think it happens overnight, whereas you don't know, like some of these guys have been trading 10, 20 years and they get on social media and you think, oh, they made it. No, they've been working their butt off. It takes time. So again, Lucas, thanks for being here, brother. Thanks for reinforcing that idea as well. And again, have a blessed day. Thank you for finishing today's episode. If you're watching on YouTube, please leave a comment below of one of the takeaways that you are going to implement into your own trading. And if you happen to be listening on a podcast platform, go ahead and leave us a review and let us know what you enjoy about today's episode, because that does go a long way in helping us continue to grow. Again, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.